It's the second time in the Super Bowl era. Skip, I don't even have anything to say. The floor is yours.
Bang the table. How about them Cowboys? Bang the table right now.
Would this team just please leave me alone? Just let me be. Let me rest in peace over here. Here's how my day went yesterday. I told you Monday, I woke up dangerously delusional because I saw signs of life on my defense. So you know what I did after our show yesterday? You know how my mind starts working. I start thinking, you know what? This just could be the Sunday. This could be the ultimate trap game, the ultimate trap game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they're coming off a huge rivalry win at Baltimore. They pulled it off. They are in the catbird seat. This is the first time in forever that they've been, what are they, 7-0 or 8-0? 7-0. And I look at their schedule. They got the woeful Cowboys, then they got the Bengals at home, then they go to Jacksonville, and they're probably thinking, exhale. Let's just take a little breather here as we get ready for a Thanksgiving night rematch with the Baltimore Ravens in Pittsburgh, right? And I'm thinking, you know what? Pittsburgh might be a little overrated because they are really good on defense. Pro Football Focus says they have the best defense. They lead the league in sacks.
They get at the quarterback.
They ever. But Pro Football Focus ranks the Steelers' offense 24th. And I'm thinking, you know what? Pro Football Focus also on its weekly All-Pro team put two of my Cowboys on defense on the All-Pro team, DeMarcus Lawrence and Trevon Diggs. After he got smoked a couple times in Philly, he got Carson Wentz back twice. And nearly put us back in position to steal the football game, except for Benjamin Anthony DiNucci. Bad. No, he just wasn't up to that task. But Andy Dalton's a whole nother story. Best backup quarterback in pro football. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Andy's played the Steelers a bunch in his career, so I looked it up yesterday. 16 times he has played Mike Tomlin's Pittsburgh Steelers. His record isn't very good. It's 3-13, but he was playing for the Bungles. But you look at his stats, 19 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. Not terrible against Mike Tomlin's defense over 16 games, right? So will Andy Dalton be scared on Sunday? No, he won't be scared. Like, I got a shot. If Andy's back from his concussion protocol and my defense could somehow stymie the Steelers' offense, because we actually had 4 takeaways. We had 3 the whole year. We had 4 on Sunday night at Philadelphia.
Which was the fewest at that point in NFL history.
That is correct. So I'm thinking, even though we're still dead last in points allowed and we're still dead last in turnover differential at -11, I saw rays of hope. And I'm thinking, what if they shock this team? Because look, we have 3 games left in the division. We got 2 at home. We got Washington and Philly at home, and we go to the Giants at the end of the year. What if we won all 3? I told you yesterday, 5 could win this division, 5 wins. 6 for sure. You got a real shot with 6.
Absolutely.
So if we could win out in the East and then steal 1 game out of division, we got a shot. What if they shock the Pittsburgh Steelers as up to 14-point underdogs with Andy Dalton back at quarterback? And I'm thinking, here I go.
I got a chance.
And then I see some quotes midday yesterday from an early Mike McCarthy press conference. And, you know, the one thing that he's gloating about, and it's the only thing he can gloat about, he says, we're one team. I don't think they're one of the few teams. No COVID positives through the regular season for the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm thinking, that's all you got? No COVID positives for the Cowboys, and he's actually, like, gloating about it. Because then a couple hours pass, and I see the headline, and I said, you're kidding! Andy Dalton is on the COVID list. I don't know if he tested positive, if he had contact problems. I don't know. It's probable, I would guess, that he tested positive.
For him to miss, because, Skip, if you didn't test positive, you can quarantine for 5 days, test negative, and play.
So you have a shot?
So the mere fact that they're saying he's out,
you would guess that's what happened.
He's tested positive.
Andy Dalton, of all players on this roster, you tested positive? Just as I thought, well, if you're back, I got a chance. And now I got no chance. Now they have re-signed Cooper Rush, who used to be the backup quarterback, and they cut him, and he went up with Jason Garrett to the Giants, who cut him before the year started.
Right.
What? And Cooper Rush is back, and he's thrown 3 passes in his Cowboy life and completed 1 for a grand total of 2 yards back in 2017. So he hasn't been in an NFL game for nearly 3 years. So it's now Ben DiNucci or Cooper Rush. Ben DiNucci or Cooper Rush.
You got another guy.
I know. I got Garrett Gilbert.
You don't want him?
He used to be the stud of Texas as a high school player. He was one of the big signees in the history of the University of Texas, and he wound up at SMU. Okay, so that's how great he was at the University of Texas. So I'm going to assume it's now Cooper Rush or bust on Sunday. Cooper Rush out of Central Michigan, who went undrafted. And here we go again. At least DiNucci was a 7th-round pick, like Shannon Sharp was. So now I'm just crushed again. I cannot even get a break. I can't get a COVID break. I just lost the best backup in pro football. Andy Dalton is on the COVID list, and I'm on the I'm out of here list, right?
Yeah, you on life support list with your Cowboy. Skip, all of your quarterback options are bad. The mere fact, let this sink in, because the Cowboys tendered Cooper Rush for $2.1 million.
They did.
And then all of a sudden, Andy Dalton became available.
Out of nowhere.
They released him.
Yeah, and they ate that money.
That should, Skip, that should tell you something. If you believed in Cooper Rush, why would you sign Andy Dalton? Here's a guy that had
That's a good point.
This guy had been in your system since 2017. Mike McCarthy says, I'm going to leave the terminology in because that's what Dak is familiar with. Well, Cooper Rush was on the roster. He was the backup to Dak. So he knows that terminology. Why would you bring Andy Dalton in to learn new terminology if you believe Cooper Rush was the guy? You know Cooper Rush isn't the guy. Skip, it's like, okay, what is it? A, Ben DiNucci. B, Cooper Rush. C, Garrett Gilbert. E, none of the above.
Yep.
That's what you want, Skip. I'm sorry, you guys. If you take all the best qualities of each of those 3 individuals, Skip, I still don't believe you get a quarterback that can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, it might be a situation like, as you mentioned, they're looking past a big division win, the Baltimore Ravens on the road, tough. Last play of the game comes down to the last play, and they're looking past the Cowboys. But knowing Mike Tomlin the little bit that I do, I don't think that. He's like, and as he said, he said, look, we're happy with the win, but we got to be honest with ourselves now. We got to be honest. We didn't play particularly well in certain areas, and that's why we're going to have to evaluate this tape. Skip, look, I just don't know what y'all going to do. Now, the Steelers take the ball away. They lead the league in sack, 5th in takeaways, and now they get that offensive line, Bud Dupree, Cam Hayward, and T.J. Watt. That's what y'all gonna go up against.
T.J. Watt, 6.5 sacks. Bud Dupree, 6 sacks.
Well, they're gonna leave with more than 6 and 6.5 when they leave this ball game. You got your work cut out for you. And now, the thing is about Ben and those receivers, he has all his starting receivers. Now, if Ben does not, obviously, it's a level playing field, you turn the ball over because now you give Dallas short fields, kind of like what Wentz did, even though a lot of times you guys weren't able to take advantage of it. Now, you turn the ball over, all bets are off, Skip. But I don't believe the Steelers will look past you because of what transpired last week. I believe they will take you guys serious. I believe they will look to step on you early and end this thing. You guys play well. I like what I saw. See, what I saw from D-Law Sunday is what I expect to see from him every week. I saw the hustle. I saw them throw a smoke route, and he turned, rushed, peeled, and go get it.
He ran it down.
That's the D-Law.
Yep, I agree.
D-Law. That's why you was thought of as a top 5 defensive end in all of football.
That is correct.
That's why Jerry gave you all that money. This is what I expect to see from you every week. To be the best player. You are undeniable. The best player on that defense, you need to show that on a weekly basis. But you got your work cut out for you. And it doesn't matter if you had Andy Dalton, but now that you got Bender, and let that say get Skip, how bad must you be? That they give you one start, they say not, and even Jerry. No, Skip, it does seem like forever ago because it was forever ago. That was many, many games ago. That was about probably 1,000 less carries ago, and that arguably was Zeke's best game as a Cowboy. Skip, there's a lot of things that's changed since 2016. 2 of those things aren't coming back, at least this year. Tyron Smith was the best left tackle in football. He was a first-team All-Pro. Travis Frederick was arguably the best center in football. He was a first-team All-Pro. Zach Martin, who's still on the team, was first-team All-Pro, but that was a lot of collisions ago, Skip. Zeke also was a first-team All-Pro. Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, not coming back this year. Zach Martin has been banged up a little bit. He's still legit. He's still a top 3 guard in all of football. But Zeke is not the best back in football anymore. And, Skip, they've kind of gone away from what they were then. Skip, you know, they got off the bus knowing, Zeke, you getting 20 touches today, bro.
Yep.
Zeke, now he's hoping. And because they don't fear the quarterback,
yep.
Everybody talks about, we heard Pat Peterson when they, the great cornerback from the Cardinals say, no, we won't Andy Dalton, the ball in Andy Dalton's hand. We know what 21 can do. We're not sure about Andy Dalton. They're going to be even less sure about Cooper Rush or Garrett Gilbert, Skip. They're not going to let Zeke beat them. Teams are smart enough to know, is Zeke, Skip, I don't believe Zeke is that guy, 2016 guy. Yep. But I still believe he's capable of going for 110, dominating the clock, and keeping the defense, although the Cowboys defense is playing better. But Skip, it's not that. That's not coming back because that offensive line isn't the same. I don't believe Zeke is the same. And I don't believe the Cowboys' commitment to the run is the same. So when you factor all those things in, although it's nice for Zeke to reminisce, like, man, I went 80. And you was watching that, you like, man, I wish those days would come back. Happy days are not here again, Skip. I am sorry to tell you. So to answer Jenny's questions, no, I do not.
So you're not sorry to tell me because the truth is I've been trying to tell you this, unfortunately, for a year and a half. Since Zeke came back from Cabo San Lucas and got paid 5 years, $90 million, $15 million a year, I hate how right I have been because I have told you from about game 1 or 2 of 2019, Shannon, I'm sorry. Eye test is saying, don't see it. Where's that guy?
Skip, they say the wings hit differently in Mexico.
Maybe.
I don't know what the ranch and the blue cheese dressing.
I got it. I have told you again and again, I still love my man Zeke. I still have his picture on my bedside table. But I miss that Zeke. I don't see this that much. If I get it twice a game now, I'm like, wow.
If you
great.
get it once a game, because you didn't see
I'm
it,
excited.
You didn't see it Sunday at all.
No, I didn't see it at all. And the problem is, this number 21 looks like more of a fullback than a halfback to me. This one has lost some of his sadness, some of his explosion, some of his burst that he used to have, obviously dating back to the glory days at The Ohio State.
You got to let that.
I know. I let it go. It wasn't even his last year. It was his second to last year. When he didn't dominate the Big Ten, he dominated the nation.
He almost ran for 1,000 yards in 4 games.
He did. It was spectacular, all the way to a championship game against the Oregon Ducks.
Yep.
I was there at Jerry World, and he just ran wild on them, just as he had run, wild on St. Nick's defense in the semifinal.
And they hit Wisconsin,
in the Big Ten, and Michigan.
Before that,
was just he ran them out of the building.
He did.
So now, I hark back to what I was always taught as I was coming up covering your game, pro football. It was almost a cliche that running back shelf life is 2.5 years. And I would say, well, it's longer than that.
Right.
You know, certainly for the great ones. You know, we saw Emmett just go on and on and on. He went all the way to Arizona and just kept piling up yards because he had such great quickness in a confined space, as Norv Turner used to tell me. And he just had the art of avoiding collisions.
He didn't run to contact like Zeke does.
Zeke runs to contact. He runs through contact. He runs through brick walls at the line of scrimmage. And to your point, obviously, the walls have gotten more bricks in them since the stud linemen have gone down. And this year has been mostly a disaster for the offensive line. So I certainly give you that. But it was so ironic that you and I had just started Undisputed, and we took the show on the road, I guess, for the first time, and we went to New York City for UFC at Madison Square Garden. So this was the week, because the current president just got elected on that Tuesday that we got there on Wednesday, right?
Correct.
And we were there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And on that Sunday was Dallas at Pittsburgh. And it was the suddenly hot young Cowboys featuring Dak and Zeke.
Right.
And neither of us were quite sure what to make of them. I loved it. I was on fire, but I just couldn't figure out how they could go to Pittsburgh and win.
Right.
So we picked it that Friday. There's no way I was picking Dallas to win that game. They were 7-1 at that point. I thought they're going to be 7-2. I think we both picked Pittsburgh to win that game. And then these things happened. The first one was the screen pass that went 83 yards, and I just have to burn this into my soul because I'm just afraid we're never going to see this again. But here we go. Just a little flip from Dak to Zeke. This is 83 yards now. There's some acceleration going on there. This is 4-4 Zeke because he outran 3 DBs and then just vaulted into the end zone. Did a little pirouette into the end zone. Here we go again. Okay, that guy feels like a thing of the past to me. And yet, remember, he's only 25 years old, so it's not like he turned 30 and he lost it, right?
Right.
Okay, so then in the fourth quarter, it's still a nip-tuck game, back and forth with Big Ben, and Zeke scores twice in the fourth quarter.
Right.
The first one was a 14-yard touchdown. And again, you look at the blocking. There's a gaping hole, and he just burst right through.
Look at Travis Fred. Look at Zach Martin.
Just blowing people up. Okay? And then your favorite play comes on the following play, which nailed the game. This is the nail in the coffin, and this is, you want to talk about gaping hole, and I can't remember who the right end was, but he played it completely wrong.
Yes, he's got to get across the tight end's face.
Yep. And he,
It was
as
a
you
linebacker.
said, yeah, it was. And as you said, Zeke hit his head on the goalpost.
Yes.
This happened. We're seeing it in slow motion, but in real time, it just happened like, boom.
Yes.
And game over, 35-30 Dallas. So now we've come full circle, 4 years. We're right in the middle of another election. And I'm looking for my man Zeke against the Steelers on Sunday at Jerry World just to kind of save my day.
Right.
Save a little bit of pride for my franchise. And yet I keep telling you these numbers. I saw 16, 17, and 18, he led the league in yards per game. It went from 109 to 98 to 96. A slight decline, but still leading the league.
Right.
And then last year, after he got his money, he fell all the way off to a easily career low, 85 yards a game. This year, he's falling way down. It's horrendous what's happening.
Right.
Because he's all the way down to 3.9 yards per attempt, which is, he's fallen under 4 yards, which ranks 35th among running backs, which is terrible. Worst last year was my least favorite stat that I kept telling you. On first down carries, he ranked second in attempts all through 2019. So they were trying to establish him.
Right.
And yet, he ranked 18th in yards per carry on first down.
Right.
Well, do the math on that. That won't work.
Right.
Because you're not going enough. You're not establishing the run enough that they will want to stick with it. Well, they tried to stick with it,
Right.
but it didn't work. It didn't set you up to win games. And what happened?